Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We're streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom. What's happening, good people? Shouts out to y'all for starting off your day with your boy. I appreciate that a whole lot. But I had to call an audible today. Unfortunately, my guy won't be joining the show, so I don't know why I dropped that one. But no Okoye today. However, we will be getting him back on Friday. He's on the injury report. We'll just say that. But it's all good. We still got the show for you. We're going to dive into a preview of the Cowboys defense against that high-powered offense of the Detroit Lions. Before that, we're going to take a look at my Sky Optics, some of the notes from the film that I watched, which didn't add up to what I was expecting. I was talking to a number of people yesterday about this, and I was just not expecting what I saw. I was expecting something completely different, but we'll talk about what I noticed in there in the notes. And then in the roundup, we got key player updates. So Jerry and Mike updated us on some players that could potentially be available or not be available on Saturday. Yesterday at the end of the show, I said, yeah, we got the game on Monday Night Football. It's actually Saturday. My bad. So that's a good thing. I love Saturday games. I wish we could always do Saturday games. I'm a college football watcher during the season, only from time to time. So I watch all the film in the off season. So during the week or during the season, I would love Saturday football, especially for the Cowboys. If we're going to play in primetime, put us on Saturday. But I digress. What's good, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
If you're still, I see people are still coming through. If you miss it at the top, usually Wednesdays are for me and Okoye to break down the game, and possibly sometimes we'll break down the previous game. He won't be in today. He's on the DNP for today, but possibly Friday, or as Coach Mike McCarthy would say, just like anything, he's got a chance to play, and we'll get him in there and with the trainers, and we'll see where we're at on Friday. We'll monitor his progression. So we're going to monitor our guy Okoye's progression and see if we can get him up in here Friday, which we will. I know we will. So all good. Still going to hold you down. Let's get into this roundup right now, and then coming out of it quickly, but maybe not quickly. I'm not really sure how the flow of this show is going to go. You guys can call in. We'll do a few calls. We'll do a few calls in between breakdowns, because it's kind of a twofer show. You're kind of getting the film review notebook aspect of it, which we usually do on Tuesdays, and we're going to get a breakdown of the Lions. So we'll see how this thing go. But I got to talk about some things in the Sky Optics. Nonetheless, let's do it.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
So Jerry, he does his old radio hit. You know how it goes. Don't normally like to listen to what he got to say, but him and McCarthy were talking about the injured guys. So figure we talk about that a little bit. They asked Jerry about a couple of these players and also asked McCarthy about these guys. And these are some obviously big-time players for Dallas. Tyron Smith, we saw what happened without him. Jonathan Hankins, he continues to be one of the most underrated defensive players on our team. And then obviously Gilly has been playing fantastic this season, so we need him. Starting off with Hankins. Jerry Jones, 105 through the fan, has said, I don't know, quote, I don't know that we'll have Hankins this week. But then Jerry is Jerry, and he says, but we're going to have him as we get on into the playoffs, and we may have him this week. Jerry, what? Quote, I don't know that we'll have him this week, but we're going to have him as we get on into the playoffs, and we may have him this week. Well, I tell you, man, they need to stop putting that microphone in front of him. He going to slip up one day, say something he ain't got no business saying. Anyway, on to Tyron Smith. He says, McCarthy, that is, he's getting better. And he has a chance. McCarthy says this all the time. Nothing is new about this. I don't know, man. Tyron's such a wild card. By the way, I am not on the, hey, let's just rest Tyron Smith to the playoffs. Nah, man, we need him now, right? Like, again, you're still fighting for the division. Potentially that can be won. I'm not sitting Tyron Smith for if he can play, he's playing. Because how many times have we said this year? Tyron's not getting hurt in the games. He's getting hurt at home. So if he's ready to go on game day, he's ready to go. It's Monday through Saturday, or in this case, Sunday through Friday, that scares the hell out of me with Tyron Smith. So if Tyron wakes up on Sunday and says, hey, coach, I'm good to go. Suit up, son. You're playing. We need you out there. And then Gilly suffered a rib injury, but he finished the game, and they expect him to play, so that's good news. Just Gilly's been a fantastic addition to this team, man. Play well in the game on Sunday. He's been playing well all year, in my opinion. But Tyron and Hankins, man, if they could come back in this game, it'll be huge because the Lions, both of those things that you need them for, they do it extremely well. Aiden Hutchinson on the other side, so you would love to have a Tyron Smith so you can at least help out Terrence when he's on that side. And then obviously they run the ball better than all but 2 teams in the league, the number 3, and we'll get to that a little bit later. In rushing this year with, again, another dynamic duo of backs. Now, hat tip to the Cowboys defense. For 3 quarters and like 90% of the fourth, they did decent to, no, they did good. Let me say that. They did really good defending the run. But when they needed to stop it, they couldn't. And we know this team right here that the Cowboys are about to play, I'd argue, might be even a better running team than Miami. Yeah. So let's keep an eye on Hank. Would love for him to come back. If he doesn't, it's all reminiscent of last year. He gets hurt late in the season, doesn't come back to the playoffs. But Cowboys did do well on the ground in the playoffs. But we'll see. We shall see. Get out of here, man. That is the morning roundup, which is basically just a update on our 3 key players the Cowboys will need moving forward, right? And I talked about how the defense did a good job against the ground for most of the time, but on the flip side of that, on the offense, it was an interesting film study because you usually hear the term confirm my priors or confirm your priors or whatever. The film did that, though. You know, the film pretty much confirmed a lot of what we talked about, talking about the Miami defense against the Cowboys offense. What we talked about leading up to this game, almost to the damn T. But let's just jump straight into my Sky Optics and talk about some of these notes here. First of all, before we break down all the small little things about this game, and I talked about that yesterday, but we're going to go even further into detail. I want to give a hat tip to that Miami defense, number one. I put this out on Twitter. I said, I don't know if it's been said, but credit to Vic Fangio and the Dolphins defense after those first few drives. They played that Fangio 6 really well. Now, it wasn't just the Fangio 6, but that's kind of the nickname he gets for his defense. It's not an easy defense to execute, and it's not an easy defense to tear up. I get why Dak credited him in the post game. Could have easily been baited into an interception. And if I had the premium on Twitter X, I probably would have kept going and added more things, but that's why I have the show because I'm going to add on to it. But that was kind of one of the main takeaways as I'm going through this tape. I'm like, man, there's not many teams that can execute what he requires. And again, we talked about that in offseason. We talked about that leading up to the game. You have to have extremely good communication and a smart secondary, usually a veteran secondary. And then when you can kind of combat that with some guys up front that can get after the quarterback, Wilkins, Van Ginkel, who had a career day, and Bradley Chubb, that makes their defense tough. And again, they only allowed more than 21 points one time in the last now 8 games. Before going into this game, it was 7. So this was a really good defense that lived up to exactly what I figured they would be, a really good defense. With that said, you had your moments in that game. But I'll continue here with the Sky Optics. The run blocking wasn't good. Look, man, I know what this offense is. I'm not naive. I've been saying it for a long time. This is not a running team. I don't ever expect them to go into a game to be a running team. There are times I need them to be able to run the ball for sure. But I'm going to say I'm starting to. I mean, this has been proven all year. You have a poor run blocking team. If you don't want to be that harsh, you can say you have a inconsistent one, and that might be too nice. Because inconsistent would suggest like every few run blocks are bad. No, this team just does not move guys. I think they're poor at the second level. I'm at that point now. I think they're poor at the second level. We really don't have a plan, right? We're back to that whole thing. There's no plan, and we'll get to the creativity part here. It's at this point now, man, where we talked about yesterday. Hey, man, I'm just hoping our linebackers don't up. I'm just hoping the run game just don't up. Meaning, don't fumble the ball. Try to avoid as many negative plays as possible. I've always been about efficiency more than volume. And I know McCarthy's the opposite. He loves to talk about volume. Well, sir, you're never going to get the volume if you're not good at it. And I just don't think we're good at it. Somebody I seen here, Professor O, yeah, it's at that point. Earlier in the year, it was a TBD on Solari because of the issues up front with the, let me bring you here real quick. The issues up front with the injuries. And it was like, I'm not going to give him a whole lot of credit. I'm also not going to crush him because the first like 5-6 weeks when you had the lineups in and out, the offensive line wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was kind of, let me wait till we get our guys back and then we'll have a conversation about you, Solari. We've got a good 10 or so plus games, and that might be something, Professor O. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to coaches down there. I haven't talked to any players down there. But it does not seem like Solari's, whatever his scheme is, I don't even know if he has a scheme. It just doesn't seem like it's fitting right now. And maybe that'll take more than 1 year. But it just looks very, very janky in the run game. And again, I'm not naive. I'm not going to pretend we're a run team, but I would like to see this team run block better than they have been. You're giving these running backs no chance. It is just no chance. And I don't think we are running in a style where you can have a guy like TP who gets out in space, can make something happen. You're not even putting him in those positions. We're kind of right back to shotgun, run the ball up the middle. That's not his game. That's not what he does well at all. Although he did truck Terrence Steele. That's not something he does consistently well, I should say. Rico Dowdle got 2 carries. He's back to being Tony Pollard, 10 carries, Rico 2, and wipe our hands clean, we're good. So was not impressed with the run game or run blocking in the least bit. The stagnant stints continue to hurt Cowboys. So I'm going to do something I don't normally do here in a second. And that's, I'm going to go through pretty much every drive, not on the film. Maybe I'll pull something up, but just through my notes. Because during the game, I'm not really paying attention to how often they're motioning, right? But when you go back and you watch the tape, you kind of jot these things down. It was clear. And the stagnant stints, actually, you can combine that with movement and creativity was key, and we lacked it. It was clear when you go back and watch, when the Cowboys in the passing game use some form of pre-snap motion or at-snap action, you got really good results out of it. Now, that also coincides with getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb, right? But still, even when they didn't, you got good things out of it. You even got good things conceptually for the most part out of it, which there were a few times where that didn't work out, some concepts, and I'll get to that too. We talked about this game being one where you needed to be in the high 60-something%, would love for be higher than that in regards to pre-snap motion, because you have to decipher something pre-snap. You got to figure out, okay, is this guy following CD? Is this guy following Turpin or Tobert or Cooks? I need to get these linebackers or safeties to move their eyes. I just need a split second. That's it. Because if you can get them to create a window and your blocking holds up just a little bit, there are opportunities behind that coverage, right? When they did that, there were opportunities, and we usually hit them. And that's something I want to talk about here in a second. Listening to certain people and shows and whatnot before watching the tape, I'm like, man, it sounds like, man, there was a lot of just like holes in this coverage that Dak missed. And I'm like, I gotta go back and see this because obviously we can't tell on broadcast. That is absolutely not the case. That is absolutely not the case at all. I was expecting to see so many, oh my God, wide open touchdown down here. Oh my God, this could have been some 40-yard or 30-yard or 15. There wasn't a lot of that. And I was shocked because of just what I was hearing. You know what there was a lot of? This, the Fangio 6. I am a bit shocked that nobody is coming out saying, hey, well freaking played, Vic. Well done, Dolphins. If we could play zone that way, fam, we'd be unstoppable defensively. See, the Dolphins don't have a pass rush like we have. They got some good guys up there, but we got a ridiculous front. They play the zone so the communication's beautiful. They pass it along pretty well. They do a lot of things really good in that zone. And if you are stagnant, good luck. Good luck, Chuck. When the Cowboys were not stagnant, there were many times in this game where it created a hole, a window, whatever you want to call it, based off the movement. And I'm going to go through the play-by-play here in a second. Not play-by-play almost, but drive-by-drive in a second. But again, when I went back and I watched it, I was like, this is interesting that this is the takeaway from certain people. And so I said, well, how did Dak perform against this defense compared to his peers? His overall stats were 20 for 32, 278, 2 touchdowns. And if we're being honest, this could have easily been a 300-yard total day. They took away a good chunk of his rush attempts because of penalties, right? They took a good chunk of that away. So I went back and looked. Dak had the highest QBR and passer rating against this defense since Jalen Ramsey returned. He had the second highest QBR and passer rating since week 3 against this defense. And since Ramsey returned, he's the only quarterback to not have a turnover-worthy play in the last 8 weeks. That's not easy, bruh. Let me tell you why that's not easy. There were many times in watching this where they are just baiting him. They are like, please try to throw in the middle of this field, because conceptually, and that's something I'll get to in one of these plays, there were times where if they didn't run Ferg inside, and maybe they did a seam or maybe they did a 7, you had a window. But because you ran Ferg inside, and I'm using Ferg because this happened with Ferg multiple times, you allow one defender to technically cover CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, making that window hey, throw it, please. Throw it. Because it's either going to be an interception or an overthrow. And he could have easily been baited into this. The most egregious miss of the entire afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it egregious, was like an 11-yard stop, not even a stop route. It was CeeDee Lamb. I think it was like 3rd and 12. I'll talk about it. It's like 3rd and 12. CeeDee Lamb has to find a hole, he turns around, sits. But Dak is not even looking that way. He's looking the other way. If he looks CeeDee Lamb's way, he probably gets the first down. That was the most egregious one. If you want to use the term egregious to a literal standpoint, the most egregious one would have been a touchdown to Jake Ferguson had Chuma Doga did his job and blocked. But this is a situation where conceptually, man, they just had it. They just had it. They just really dialed it up, and you didn't really have an answer for it after those first 2 possessions. So what happened after the first 2 possessions? Let me read my notes from it. The biggest difference was movement and deliberation with CeeDee Lamb. If you go watch, anytime the Cowboys for the most part, got a positive play in the pass game, there was movement. There was motion. There was moving the linebacker out here. It was a safety getting his eyes. There was some play action, flow this way, dump it off to Jake Ferguson that way. Anytime there was stagnation, there was nothing. There wasn't misses. The guys weren't getting, it wasn't like, it's hard to say guys weren't getting open. This is a zone defense, right? So guys are going to be in areas. And they played it well. They didn't play a whole lot of man, but when they did play some man, they got caught by who? CeeDee Lamb. So I wanted to talk about what I saw in these drives. After the first two drives, the Cowboys were moving the ball with movement, right? The first two drives, they scored. They should have scored a touchdown on both. They scored on one. The third drive, they get backed up inside the 5. Mike McCarthy comes out and says, hey, I got to be better down there. They didn't call a great game down there. Nonetheless, they got lucky. Roughing a passer call. They get the ball moved out to around the 15 or whatever, 20, whatever it was, right? Very first play after the roughing the passer call. Stagnant. And on top of that, they had a concept flaw, which would have had Lamb open, but they ran Ferg and Lamb too close in the same area, allowing that one defender to play two guys. That's the play I was talking about. CeeDee Lamb's best play of the day, obviously, was that over route. He got a first down on one, kind of an out, really, but it was a bunch of either out routes or over routes, in routes, kind of getting guys out the way and allowing him to have some room to execute. That particular play, Dak wants Lamb. Dak has Lamb. It's a big play if they are better conceptually. If Ferg is not running kind of a intermediate crosser here and allowing that back defender to play two guys. That was one of the flaws. The second play, no motion. Third and long, no motion. But on that third down, that was the play I talked about where if CeeDee Lamb sits down, that was in my opinion, to be completely honest, the one big miss of the entire afternoon. The fourth drive, once again, stagnant play on first down, run, stagnant play on third down, blitz, they get home in 1.5 seconds. Fifth drive, starts off with a full start, Hendershot, first and 15, they go run, pass, sack. Stagnant. Sixth drive. Backed up inside the one, just at that point, the Miami Dolphins knew we have your offensive line on their heels. You're backed up inside the one. There was just nothing. They blitzed I think 2 out of the 3 plays on that. There was nothing there, nothing open, nothing designed. There was just nothing. 3 and out, punt the ball. And I talked about how McCarthy needed to be better down there. He talked about that, I should say. The 7th drive, this is when they start to score. They used motion on the big play to Tolbert. He could have technically went to CeeDee Lamb if he wanted and see if CeeDee Lamb can get more yards, but he probably wasn't going to get a 47-yard bomb to Tolbert like he got to Tolbert. But they used motion. Next play, stagnant screen, failed to Gallup. I don't know why we're throwing that to Gallup. That's the play we talked about where Van Ginkel, if he throws it the other way, Van Ginkel was likely picking that or he's tipping it because nothing was there. Just a stagnant and then the screen to Gallup. What are we doing? Now you get the third and long. Dak scrambles, gets the first down, 15-yard play, nullified. Penalty, backs it up because of a bullcrap illegal shift. Next play, third and super long, no motion. Miami covered that thing extremely well. Nothing's there, field goal. The 8th drive, which technically we'll call it the 8th drive. This is when they drive down, and on 3rd and 2, if Chuma Edoga does not glitch, you have a touchdown. Jake Ferguson, he wants to hit Jake Ferguson. But Chuma Edoga glitches. Dak has to step up and try to make a play elsewhere. Kick the field goal. The 9th and final drive. This was just really Dak and CeeDee Lamb willing their way there. To be honest. They just pretty much willed their way down the field for a touchdown. And if you go look at it, they actually caught Miami in man a few times on key critical plays. On the 3rd and 7, they caught Miami in man. Again, I can't remember if it was an out or if it was an over. Get 101 with motion. CeeDee Lamb, Dak throws a nice dime, first down. 4th and 2, motion. Dak rolls out. CeeDee Lamb beats Xavier Howard, first down. Again, pre-snap motion. And then you get the go-ahead touchdown to Brandon Cooks. Why'd they stop moving? What changed that they stopped using it? Because it wasn't like, hey, the weather, we can't throw the ball down. Like, the motion was helping you out intermediately. You didn't have to worry about dropping back and throwing the ball 40 yards downfield. Just simple movement. Simple movement got you intermediate throws and allowed a guy like CeeDee Lamb to get busy after the catch. So when I went and watched that, when I heard, I should say, I said, well, let me go. I always go drive by drive, but I don't normally explain drive by drive to y'all. When you really break it all down, it came down to simple things here. Not that one. Movement and creativity was key, and the Cowboys lacked it. They lacked it. Now, you can go further. You can add to this simplicity and say, well, protection. Sure. Dak Prescott was pressured the most he's been pressured this season, almost on almost half of his dropbacks. Sure. But Dak has been one of the best quarterbacks at dealing with pressure for like the last 3 to 4 seasons. So even in games when Dak is getting pressure, I still feel like, hey, he'll figure it out because that's who he is. And let me say this. If it wasn't for your quarterback, you may have been sacked 7 or 8 times. If it wasn't for that particular quarterback, you may have thrown 2 or 3 interceptions. People kept asking, why is he pumping and pulling it down? Because if he didn't pump and he threw that a good bit of times when he pumped, because the play I'm talking about where CeeDee Lamb was open, that wasn't really a pump per se to CeeDee Lamb. That was a pump somewhere else where they wanted him to throw the ball. If he was looking at CD, he just throws a CD. There's no pump. If he didn't do those things, I guarantee you that 0 in the turnover-worthy play category would have been at least 3. At least. And half the damn time he was getting yards. Flag on the play. Bullcrap holding and a bullcrap shift. Illegal shift. Nullified 2 really good runs. And being mobile against that defense is key. It's absolutely key, especially when they have pass rushers like Bradley Chubb and Van Ginkel and Wilkins who can get after you. You have to be able to move because when they play that zone, you moving, you're like a magnet, right? If you move a certain way, and you saw it in the game, that defender, whether it be a linebacker, safety, corner, they're following you, which may create a window behind them. So Dak's mobility and Dak's IQ, in my opinion, really saved the Cowboys from this game getting out of hand if they turn the ball over. Again, one of the more underrated games, probably, because this could have went sideways many different times here. Mind you, we're doing this without a run game. Doing this without real play action. Because when they ran play action, it was working. But I digress. Just a very strange film study based off of the things that you were hearing in the outside world. It didn't add up. What did add up was this mother Vic Fangio's defense. That added up. And I digress. Kind of went a little bit long there on the breakdown, but we're on a different pace today. First half of the show, we're going to talk about what I saw in the film. Second half of the show, we're going to preview the lines. I'm going to take a couple calls, and then we'll preview the lines and split it up. Brother L, so you're saying our QB is legit? 100%. And has improved even more, but the narrative said, yeah, if this was Dak from like 4 or 5 years ago, this probably could have been an ugly game. For sure. For sure. If you go look at the top quarterbacks that they have played, I'd argue he played the second best. Now, he clearly didn't play better than Josh Allen in week 3, but I got included because it was Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, and Dak. Those are the big 4 quarterbacks they've played this year, right? And Allen had a perfect game. At the crib, by the way, but he had a perfect game. Mahomes had some turnover-worthy plays. Didn't old boy throw a pick 6? Jalen Hurts in that game? He had some YOLO balls that hit. Sure. He had some YOLO. But Dak had the second highest QBR and passer rating against his defense since week 3. And the highest since Ramsey returned. By the way, there was no Ramsey in the Buffalo Bills game. There was no Ramsey in the Eagles game. Ramsey changes this defense. So, yeah, 100%, brother. No doubt about it. In fact, call me crazy if you want. I came out of this game more encouraged about our quarterback. We have to context, right? We have to understand it's a one-dimensional offense. I hate to say it. I was hoping we get to a point where your run game was at the very least respectable. It's not really even respectable at this point. It's a one-dimensional offense. It's one thing to be, hey, this is your strength, passing, running, but do you have the opposite to complement it? It's really hard for me to stick my chest out and be like, yeah. We have a really good complementary run game. Not in that game, at least. We did not. Your protection's breaking down. You really didn't find an answer to Fangio's defense, but when you needed to get down there, drive the ball down, and score, it really wasn't a bunch of scheme. It was, hey, 88, me and you, big body Dak shrugging off pass rushers to throw an incomplete pass so it's not a sack, or shrugging off pass rushers to throw an 8-yard throw to make it 2nd and 10, or taking on a shot and getting it to CD Lamb when he got caught in man. They willed their way down there, and you got the penalties because they were real penalties in the end zone, and they scored a go-ahead touchdown. How you don't come away from this game more encouraged about your Q? To me, it's kind of wild. A lot of people, including me, Cowboys Nation, my hands raised, have said, what about him? Hey, man, I need you to finish. If you have the opportunity to finish, I don't care what you did in the first 3 quarters. I don't care if you threw 3 interceptions. I don't care if you fumbled the ball 10 times. I don't care if you overthrew a bunch of guys. If you have a shot to drive down the field, to take the lead or tie the game, can you do it? I need to see you do it. He did that. I gave y'all my whole soliloquy on it's not going to be pretty in games. You're going to have these moments, weird moments and things like that. But if you have the opportunity to go down there and finish, offense, defense, doesn't matter, can you do it? He did that on a day where it was not pretty. I come away encouraged. You can call it cap, you can call it whatever you want. Pop on that film, study that film, come back to me and tell me you came away from that game not encouraged, and I will say, okay, explain to me why. VIP, what it do, brother?
Guys, VIP, what's good, baby?
What's good, fam?
Hold on.
What's going on in the chat?
Let me put this up real quick. But Scott, I do got a couple of points to make, and your points, I just want to highlight.
Okay.
Because I watched the film, and I said this, because, you know, we got to sit back and watch the film. I'm at work, so don't mind the dogs in the background.
Let me text Guy. What are you talking about?
But after I studied the film, Scott, I walked away. I'm telling you, I usually told you it takes me 24 hours or 48 hours to get over an L. After watching this film, I'm telling you, I left. This is the most encouraged I felt after an L because I see my defense bounce back. What I don't like is Big Mike getting too cute. We get down to the 1 yard line. Lucky that bails him out a lot.
Yeah, 100%. We didn't have an answer schematically in this game. We just didn't.
We get down to the 1, we're dropping back. And you know why that is? Because we don't, like you said, we don't have a running game that we can just hang our hat on. I don't give a damn what they said about Zeke. You get to that 1 yard line, Zeke will fall forward for 1 yard.
That was the one thing he was extremely elite at. Was he'll get you a yard. Yeah.
You gotta you didn't replace that. That's 12 tubs he had last year. 12 tubs. And I watched that play 3 times. TP has lost confidence in himself a little bit. His speed is his go-to. He should have been going to that pylon on a play where he dug his head in, and he didn't even have to.
Yeah, I don't get why he didn't. I don't know why he cut that back up. Just attempt to go to the pylon. I get the first down was there, but, dude, I'd rather you run to the pylon and stretch out and try to get the first down. But
that's that killer instinct that he lacked. Yeah, because he got the first. But and then there's a couple of plays I went back and watched, and I think obviously that run to 40 changed the dynamics of the game. But I think a bigger play down the end was 33. 33, that face mask call on the last drive, I think hurt our chances for stopping them.
Of course, you know. I mean, the face mask, the non-hold, sure.
Oh, we ain't even gonna talk about the non-hold. Yo, I told you, I really think we should have a coming to the ref theory. Like, the refs should have their website. We should plaster their names on their website. And whatever town they live in, somebody should be pulling up in their yard, screaming, "Hail Mary, you better get the next call right, or I'll be back the next night." Because, they're not held accountable, and I think that's the problem. Them not being held accountable, Sky, on key situations. No, I know, but on key situations.
I did my ref rant on Micah, man, but I'll let y'all. I'm not wasting y'all time on that, bro. Y'all know how I feel.
And it's not, like you said, I'm not even gonna waste time because that's something that we can't change. But what we can change is 71. You got, we really don't realize how much 77 means to us until we get into games like this, until we get into another Atlanta 7-sack game. Like you remember that game? This dude came out and basically made a Hall of Fame on us. He had 8 sacks in the game, and we did nothing. It
wasn't that bad, bro. but it wasn't.
I know it wasn't 8, but you know what I'm saying.
It was the moments for Chuma. Yeah, it was the moments. Yeah.
Because I watched that film, and like you said, I seen Fergie wide open. Regardless if he got a touchdown, he was wide open where he was getting deep in the red zone. And the other one, Dak didn't even have a chance to go through his progressions because he let him free off the line.
That was a touchdown. So I hate the call. Yeah. I hate you're at the one, just sneak it in. But if he literally just blocks Chubb, bro, he don't even got to block him well. Just get in his way. He had 3 dudes open. Once Dak, whips his head around, he didn't get a chance to whip his head on that side, and Chubb was sacking him. But yeah, he had the tight ends open on that play action. But yeah, man, Chuma's mental lapses happen at the absolute worst times, and I don't understand it for the life of me. Me and Voch talk about this throughout the season when Chuma was starting. It's like he has these weird mental lapses at least twice a game where he's just not picking up a stunt guy or he's letting somebody go free. And I don't think there's an O-line person in the world that can tell me that was the right thing that he did right there on that 3rd and 2 sack. Not sack, the 3rd and 2 pressure. I don't think there's anybody that can tell. For no reason.
For no reason. Our 73 had him, his guy locked. For you to even, I watched that play 3 times. I'm like, yo, what would even make you block? Do you not know your responsibilities as a D tackle? Why are you, it lost me, man. And that goes back to what I was talking about, the parking lot pimping, where Jerry didn't address this at the beginning of the year. And now we got to wait for the end of the year to worry about our wounds. Like, yo, it's sad as fans that we got to put up with our owner being incompetent. So that's basically what it is at this point. He gets in his own way. My mother told me a long time ago, our biggest enemy is our enemy. And in closing, I'm going to say this, guy. I still have all the confidence in the world. I know Big Mike does a lot more. You lose, but you learn a lot through your losses. So I'm hoping Big Mike goes in and puts in that motion, because CD, basically, they rate CD. They pulled his pants down. They didn't call a call. So he has to put CD in motion to win. And all I'm going to say from there, Sky, is no Slurpees. I ain't heard from the Slurpees, so y'all doing good because you know I'm on your heels. So no Slurpees on. And Sky, our game was on Saturday?
Yes, we play Saturday, yes, which I'm happy as hell about because it's a primetime game.
So that's on Monday Night Football? That's on
I think
who's carrying that?
I don't know. I'm not sure who's carrying. I can go look it up. Give me 1 second. It'll take me 2 seconds there. Schedule. Bada bing.
So that's a primetime game, so that's got to be like Saturday night.
ABC, ESPN, so that sounds like Monday.
That is ABC, ESPN. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, Sky, look, man, if I don't talk to you before then, you know your hitters out here. I'm 10 toes down. If you need me, if any Slurpees are lurking before the New Year, Sky, I got you. Be safe. I'll see you the next year. You know, no Slurpees allowed.
No Slurpees allowed, bro.
Cowboys.
My God, appreciate it.
I ain't a killer, but don't push me, B.
Hey, refs, don't push him. He show up, man. One more, and we're gonna break down this Lions. We'll get through the Lions pretty quickly because I don't want to do too much because I got Koye coming in Friday, so I think the next 2 days will be brief with it, and me and Koye will be more detailed on Friday. Let's go 469. You've been on hold. What's goody?
Yo, good morning, Sky. It's Los, man. New number here.
I'm about to say
How you
that's
been, man.
yo. I'm saying like, hold up, bro. This sound like Los. What's up with you, big
yes,
dog?
Sir. Hey, long time no call, but hey, all is good now. Hope your family's good. Hope they had a good Christmas.
Thank you, bro.
Many blessings to you, man.
You as well.
Hey, just two quick things, and I'm out of you. All right.
Los always hit us with the two quick things. All right, go ahead, Los.
Yeah. So I wasn't surprised by the results, right? But there were opportunities. If we capitalize, totally different result, right? And
That's
I saw
every
Dak
game,
have to go again. And I saw Dak go against his own O-line and still make plays. This defense improved from the previous week on the run game. And honestly, this was their last test before the playoffs facing a good team on the road, right, Sky?
Yes.
So
yeah.
they can't waste opportunities on the big dance. They either have to match the other team's intensity or counter their scheme. Because I think we've seen enough from the regular season. This team is very hard time coming back from either double digits or when they start getting into rhythm, it's already fourth quarter with 5 minutes remaining. We can't allow to do that to ourselves. And number two, I'll leave you with this, closing. It looks like we're going to be locked in for the 5th seed, right? And it's either going to be an NFC South team. I don't care who we face in the wild card. And if we get past that, guess what? San Francisco or Eagles. 2 places regular season, we got owned. And it's just time to return the favor. Simple as that, Sky. No matter what, playoffs is all about execution and bringing your best brand of football and saying, stop me. And that's why defense wins championships. Because whoever offense exposes the other defense, that's who wins. And I do have confidence in my quarterback to do it, but let's just hope we just got to find a rhythm and we just got to capitalize. That's it, Sky. That's all I got. Let's go, Cowboys. You have a great morning. Peace out.
Appreciate you, Los. Good to hear from you. Brother L said he sound different. You think Los a clone, bro? Good to hear from him. I'm trying to find this this one play to illustrate with the, because y'all know normally I go into the film. I didn't do that today because we had to call an audible. Me and Koye were going to break down a lot of things film wise, but just wanted to show you what the motion does. See, I know if I get into this film, I'm going to want to break down every damn play. But can I do that real quick? I mean, this was early in the game, and what I mean by just like simple motion, what it does that got CeeDee Lamb going. There's CeeDee Lamb down here. I think they're going to motion Brandon Cooks this way. He's going to follow Cooks, which obviously opens up. So they're going to start off in essentially a 2x2 if you count the back, 3x2, and go into a 4 strong in the way this play goes. Let me just make sure I'm right here. Yep, Brandon Cooks. So look what happens with 4. So when 4 clears this out, Dak understands this situation here. If any of these guys flow this way, just in the least bit, CeeDee Lamb's going to, bam, get wide open. Or in the NFL, it's wide open. So take a look at the play. And this is what creativity and motion does. Safety drops back. This linebacker is worried about what's happened over here for a split second. And you get a wide open throwing lane. I just don't know why they stopped doing things like this. I don't. Let me see if I can find that play where I will show you the way I would have drew this play up. I think this is it right here, Cowboys Nation. Let me see. And I think this was a stagnant play too. Yep, no motion. Okay, so this is what the route combination I believe is going to be. Is some form of an over route for CeeDee Lamb. And you're going to get Fergie doing either an in or... So this is the conflicting area, in my opinion. I'll let the play run, and I'll show you what I would have done conceptually to continue to take advantage of CeeDee Lamb in the slot on these over routes. I'll let the play run, and we'll run it back, and I'll tell you why he pulled that down. Me personally, if they haven't really run this 7, they could have did multiple things. They could have just sent him straight down on the seam route, and this likely takes care of this safety, right? Or they could have sent him on a 7, and he just runs this hook. This cornerback or whoever this is, safety, is put in a situation where either he attends over here or he deals with CeeDee Lamb on this over route. Either way, Dak has a pretty easy read right here, and he's been making this throw all year. Instead, they run him into the conflicted area, and now this guy essentially can be in the area for both of them. So let the play run one more time. Right here. Dak wants this. You understand? Like, y'all understand what I'm saying here? Dak wants this. But Dak can't have it. Because this guy is essentially guarding 2 players. So I think there's a concept fail here. At the very least, you could have had Ferg hook. Right? So if he throws that, let me see. Come back. He's in that window area. If protection holds up a little bit more, maybe you say, okay, let's let this play out a little bit longer here and try to hit CeeDee Lamb all the way over here. And then that happens. So it's like, man, just a couple plays there that I would have preferred them, even if you go back and say, well, let's motion. Let's do that speed motion where he bumps out here, and now we make one of these guys follow, and it opens up this window a little bit more. So just a stagnant play, man, was a bit frustrating. My bad. I was just thinking about that when I was going back here. I was just thinking about that. Bernie said the first half was like we were watching Kellen Moore. There were times in this game, Bernie, where I was specifically on the ground where I'm like, man, we're running with no creativity. This reminds me of last year. The concepts weren't Kellen Moore, though. They weren't. They were concepts we were doing all year and having success. But I said this before, and I think I said this leading into the game. This is not Philly's garbage zone defense. This is not Washington's garbage zone defense. Right? This is a really good defense that knows what the hell they're doing back there. So you cannot be stagnant. You have to move around. Again, we always go back to what game, Cowboys Nation? Against a vision defense that has a good front, good backers, and a good secondary. You played extremely well against it because you did something really, really good and at a high rate. You motioned. You did more motion than I can. Granted, at home. At home. I'll give you that. Which I was thinking about this. Miami on the road, Buffalo on the road, San Fran on the road. Philly got Miami at home, Buffalo at home, San Fran at home. I just wonder if we get like one or two of those flipped, what will happen, right? What happened? But anyway, man, and there's a couple other plays in there too, but I just wanted to show y'all. And there was another concept flaw, I think later in the game, or might have been earlier in the game. I didn't cut it out though, but it was frustrating because this was an opportunity to play that chess match. And I just don't think we ever got to the point, well, clearly where we could say checkmate from a concept standpoint. We started off, I thought, really well. And then I don't know what happened, man. We stopped doing the things that could be a Kellen thing, right? That could be, we stopped doing the things that work. We stopped doing those things. We stopped moving, and it just kind of got us stagnant. But all right, let me jump into this preview, because that's really what this show's supposed to be about, of this Dolphins offense. I'm gonna be brief but detailed as I possibly can, and then we'll get back to the phone lines and we'll wrap to y'all. So I said Dolphins, I meant the Detroit Lions. Boy, we getting a test, ain't we? The gauntlet was a real gauntlet test, right? Seattle with Geno, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. That's a hell of a ride. And right now the Cowboys are sitting at 2-2. They come back home with a chance to go 3-2 in that gauntlet situation. But this will not be easy. Mike McCarthy came out and said, to him, this is going to be the most challenging team that we play all year. And I know that sounds crazy because you played the San Francisco 49ers. But when studying this team, I think I get what he's trying to say. This team does a lot of things well offensively. They have a better offensive line in San Francisco. They motion like San Fran. They're creative like San Fran. San Fran has better weapons on the outside, but I think they're comparable in totality, though. Because, yeah, they got Debo and Ayuk. The Lions got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, and I think, again, don't kill me here, Christian McCaffrey, damn MVP, basically. But Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery combined are tough. That's one of the top duos in the National Football League. 100% one of the best 1-2 punches going right now. So this is just as difficult of an offense to deal with as San Fran's. And Ben Johnson is a quality coordinator. So I get what he's saying. But I will say this. While I might not agree, I think San Fran is the toughest matchup. I will agree. I will say this. This will be the Cowboys' toughest test at home. 100%. 100% the toughest test at home. We play better at home, though, so that's the silver lining. But when the Cowboys played Detroit last year, the same team in a sense in regards to coordinators on both sides, head coach, quarterback, and things like that. But you got to sprinkle in Jahmyr and you got to sprinkle in Sam, right? David Montgomery. There's some different personnel standpoints here, but this is not the same team in general. That team was not a confident bunch. That team was still trying to find itself. This team knows who they are, and they are confident, and they are more, I think, prepared to play these type of opponents than like the Cowboys. But last year, they got the golf, man. They sacked him 5 times. He threw 2 interceptions. We had 8 pressures in that game. Mike had 5 of them and 2 sacks. Sam Williams was coming out party, right? Slam Williams, that's where the name came from. He had the strip sack, touchdown. I think got called back, though. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, yes, they've added the Porters and Gibbs and Montgomerys of the world, but they still have that amazing offensive line. Everybody talks about Philly, and rightfully so, but maybe because it's Detroit, nobody cares about Detroit. That offensive line is fantastic. It's right there with them. Right there with them. One of the best, if not the best, in the National Football League. You can probably get a split vote on that between them and Philly. So I wanted to bring up that the Cowboys still got the pressure on Goff. He's not a guy that's going to scramble around. This is a timing-based offense, and they do a good job of scheming it up so Goff doesn't have to do a whole lot after processing after the snap. Not saying he can't process, but this is very similar to a McDaniels and Shanahan in the sense of, I'm doing the heavy lifting pre-snap and schematically. You just got to make the appropriate decision and throw. But if they can get after Goff like they did last year, I actually like the Cowboys matchup from a passing game standpoint. Like, I think our pass defense can get after him, obviously, and I think they can match up with these receivers. There is a wild card, though. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown is fantastic. He finds spots. He's a quality wide receiver, one of the most underrated in the game and everything. So this is not a slight to him. I just like the last week, I was nervous with all that speed and the schematic. I was nervous, no doubt about it. And they held up well. This week, the wild card, is Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams doesn't get involved much at this team, but he's still a speedster. And they have been getting him involved of late. He's got more targets the last 2 weeks than he got in any 2 week combined throughout the season. So if he starts becoming a part of his offense, now you got to worry about the speed. That makes it more difficult because there's just going to be room for that scheme to get guys open. But what are the Lions' offense this year? The Lions will run play action out of pass over 90% of the time, which makes a ton of sense because they are an elite running team. They've got one of the best. You could put that up there, top 3, I'd imagine. I'm just thinking out off the top of my head. This is a top 3 tandem back in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So if you're going to be a running team, you're third in rush yards, top 10 in yards per carry, touchdowns, all that good stuff, well, you're supposed to be a heavy play action team with that. And they do it at a 90% clip. When they do run, this is one of those teams that's more gap. than zone. Not saying that they can't execute both. They obviously can. But this is more of a gap scheme. If you guys remember, we played them a whole lot of traps and pulls and just cool little wrinkles that only really the Lions really do at a high clip. And they do it well. They do it real well. So this is going to be one of those games where we cannot have these linebackers fire down these gaps, clog up these lanes. It sucks that you're not going to have Hankins. He's been perfect in this game. You're going to have to fire downhill, man, because if you allow these linemen to get to the second level, David Montgomery's tough to get down. Jahmyr Gibbs will put you on skates. Explosive runner. If you guys are not new to the show and you've been here for over the last year, you know me and me and Foots did one of our running back segments in the draft, and Gibbs was very, very highly touted with his skill. Ben Johnson, again, if Mike McDaniels is my guy, Ben Johnson is right there. Like, Ben, I think he's a quality offensive coordinator, man. He's going to get a head coaching gig somewhere. He does a fantastic job mirroring the run game to the pass game. I think he's mastered that. And not in the sense of, Sean McVay does that, right? Kyle Shanahan does it. Well, yeah, sure. Sure they do. But the difference, I think, between Ben Johnson and Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan's teams is that their offensive line is so damn good that you truly don't know if they're going to run the ball. And they're a deliberate running team. You truly don't know until Goff pulls the rock and now it's a play action. So these guys on that second and third level are really going to have to be disciplined. And they for the most part were against Miami. For the most part. There was some shots in it, right? Hopefully Michael Parsons gets the calls at home, but I'm not really counting on that. It's been 9 games. It's been 9 of them things. But this is going to be a difficult offense to deal with. We talked about their weapons: Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. They've got some decent role players as well. We talk about Jamison Williams, Reynolds. You know, that's why they're 5th ranked in scoring, 3rd in rushing, top 10 across the board. It's a good offense, Cowboys Nation. Nothing that we haven't seen before in the sense of a good offense, right? We play good offenses. Dallas just has to be up for the challenge. I know this is cliche, but this is another cliche game. They will have to stop the run to earn the right to get to the passer. We'll have to. They did it last week until the final drive. They will 100% play the edge. Remember, we talked about edge. Do I still got that guy? They played the edge defense well. They did not allow Miami to get to the edges all game. They rallied to the ball. They were not hesitant on the ground. I think they played them really well up until the last drive of the game. They held them to, it would have been less than 3.5 yards per carry until that last drive of the game. They have to do that again. They've got to bring their lunch pails, their big boy pants, whatever, back to Dallas and stop Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They do that, Jared Goff is in for a world of hurt. I get it. Great offensive line. Good for them. At this point right now, I really don't care how good your offensive line is. If you have to throw the ball consistently against this Cowboys pass rush, we're going to get home, or we're going to pressure at the least, or we're going to force a holding call, but I call it. The Cowboys are going to put pressure on you. They just are. You want to sound like a broken record. You want to put them in those 3rd and long situations. So again, win early downs against Jahmyr and David Montgomery. Not easy, but you win in these early downs. Now you make Jared Goff have to make a play. And if you make him have to make a off script play, that's not his game at all. Not even just off script, you make Jared Goff just come off a spot a little bit. He can give you opportunities. We've seen games where Jared Goff would throw 3 interceptions. All right? And that's because the pressure is there, whether that be pressure physically or pressure because, hey, we got to score. But Dallas has to put the pressure on the Lions one way or the other. There's plenty of evidence here where Jared Goff can absolutely give you the game. You just got to force them into it. But it starts with, number one, to me, stopping that run. Without Hankins, it's going to be tough, but encouraging that the Cowboys for 95% of the game did that on Sunday. All right, Let's get to a couple more callers here, and we can clock out. We're going to get to some super chats and then clock out. What's good, Jay Worthy?
Hey, Scott, what's up, my guy? How you feel, man?
My bad, bro. I'm great, bro. My bad. I got distracted real quick, but it's great, man. Merry Christmas. Hope all is well with you and yours, and I hope you ain't on the road texting. You know what I mean? I hope you on the side.
Nah. No, I'm playing daddy daycare today. My daughter's daycare. It mirrors the school schedule, so even me and my wife had to stay home. So I had to play the victim today. So yeah, be good. So what I took from, and I'm gonna just jump back and jump forward a little bit. Jump back to what you said. You said something about us going through that gauntlet.
Yeah.
And you said that if we would have just got one or two of those games home, we would have been in a better position. And Scott, I did that research in it.
Well, I didn't say we'd be in. I was just curious, right? Like, what would happen if we flipped it? Like, you put Philly on the road in Buffalo or Miami, and you put Buffalo or Miami and Dallas. I'm just curious what would happen then.
Scott, I'm just gonna go up the facts. We just undefeated at home. You know, we
fair enough.
Fair enough, bro. I follow the facts, Scott. You know, I follow the facts. That's all I can do. I'm a fan. Other than that, I just gotta be a fan. But I did this in the beginning of the season. I think I mentioned this on Raw's show that Philly schedule was favored for them to win the NFC East. Why? Because let's just put the NFC East out of it because we always play home away. But Philly had one playoff team on the road, and that was Kansas City going into that season. You know, all those teams, the other playoff teams, above 500 teams, they played at home.
Yeah,
you know?
They got a nice little break, man. Those three.
Did.
I don't know if it's favoritism because the schedule is technically mapped out for you and how it works. It's just a crazy coincidence that, you know, when you play the AFC East, it's 4 years. We played at home against a couple of them 4 years ago, Miami and Buffalo. We played at home, so 4 years later you have to play them on the road. It happened to be flipped for Philly. So that's how that happened. It's just so crazy that it happened in that way. That if it was flipped, we could be talking about a completely different situation.
Okay. See, that's why you A to Z Sports, baby. That's why you Scott, man. You got that research down pat. But yeah, what I took from that last game, you know, I took some positive reviews, you know, for myself. I was upset as a fan we lost. You know, but I took some good moments out of that. You know, the fact that Dak played phenomenal. And like you said, it would have been 7 sacks if it wasn't for him.
At least.
But
it could have been 2 safeties in that whole situation too. Could have had 2 safeties.
Yeah, and to hold that offense to 19 points until the last, you know, 3-4 seconds of the game, you know, I really looked at it from a positive standpoint because our defense, we should have got slaughtered. Because I don't understand in the beginning why we didn't have no backside help, and those explosive plays happened because if Tyreek Hill catch that touchdown, you know, that pass, it's a touchdown. But then we dropped back into a zone, and they just picked us apart in the middle of the field, you know, and that's what I saw. But you know, taken away from the way I offer.
It's hard to say. It's hard. It's really tough, man. When you watch it, like I hate to say picked us apart in that situation because they did. I think the defense for majority of this game was competitive enough, right? This is one of those games where it wasn't going to be a complete shutout. Wasn't going to be, you know, a complete you getting obliterated. I think. They did what they could do. And if we, again, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm just specifically talking about Micah Parsons. I ain't even bringing up all the others. Just Micah. But I promise you, here's what I'm going to say, to be fair to these people that hate when you talk about the refs. I don't necessarily hate it. I get it. I just refuse to. But if Micah just didn't get held, forget throwing the flag. Let's say in their minds, these referees know, or these players know, hey, I can't hold Micah. They're gonna call the flag. If he doesn't get held, he's sacking that quarterback at least twice, or he's making them throw an errant throw or incomplete pass. The biggest one was that 20-something yarder that put them in field goal range where Chosen Anderson got knocked out the game. So I'm just saying, have Micah not been held, just not been held. I mean, we can talk about the flag, just not been held. Maybe they don't get a field goal. Maybe they get backed up and it's a sack fumble. Things could have definitely been different. I'll say this: the defense adjusted through the air. It wasn't a perfect game, but I never expected it to be a perfect game. It was just that last drive that really frustrated me the most about the defense.
Yeah, the landscape of that game definitely would have been different if Micah gets those calls or the non-calls, because and that's the one thing that I hate, that we have the worst opportune calls, in the league. I mean, if Micah don't get that call, that roughing the passer, they at least get a field goal, as we can assume.
Well, it's
third. Get a field goal, but
it's 3rd and 1, so you have to make one more stop. But like I said yesterday, I'll take my chances because I've seen Mike McDaniels glitch. As much as I love Mike McDaniels, I've seen him glitch before.
Yeah, and that's what I'm leaning on. But he gets the call and it puts him up. They get a touchdown. Say for instance, 40-ounce hold on to that ball. We're not talking about this. By point differential, we're up. 28-22 at the end of the game. Not knowing what's going to happen in between or how the play call is going to go both ways. But we're just assuming. We're not talking about this. But those calls at the worst point of time in the game, they hurt us so bad, even in a game with Buffalo, And so, like I said, Scott, it's the what ifs, but I took a lot of positivity from that game, the way Dak played, and Dak is going to be phenomenal at home. I can't think differently about the way we play at home. I really think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and with Detroit, and I really think we're going to come away with the win. I'm just going to go with the facts. But if we stop Jahmyr Gibbs, like you said, and David Montgomery, we stop the Detroit Lions, because Jared Goff is going to be a statue back there with our pass rush. And they have a good offensive line. But we beaten them before. We got to Goff before. And that's all I can go off. Sure. It's just the fact. I think we're gonna be all right at home, Cowboys Nation. I think we're gonna be fine. Jahmyr Gibbs mirrors to me that running back Cooks in Minnesota. He mirrors his play style and his play style. So if we stop that, because call me crazy, Scott.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah. You say if we stop them. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only two players, receivers that had big plays on us this season was DK Metcalf and Devontae Smith. That went down the field for a long play. They don't throw. Wide receivers don't have big plays against us. It's that run game that we struggle with. So we stop that, we good, Scott. And that's all I got, my brother.
Appreciate you, Dayworth.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get to this comment that you said here, brother. Oh, here we go. You're absolutely right about this, brother. I was thinking about this. He said, holding Micah is a culture right now. I don't even blame the opposing teams consistently doing it. If it helps you win, you keep doing it. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, at least this is what I would do. I ain't no coach, but this is what I would do. There's no doubt in my mind. The offensive linemen are in that room like, I don't care what you do. Don't let that man get to the quarterback. Want me to hold, coach? Yep. Why would you not coach that? I know that sounds crazy. Coach the hold? Yes. That dude? Yes. Because they're not calling it. 100%. Brother, I'm in that room right now, whether it's because you can line up over the center. It ain't just tackles nowadays. I'm telling the tackles, the guards, and the center. If he lines up over you, give it a fight. Put up as best of a fight as you can, right? We don't just want you to open the gates and then you pull him down and hold him. Put up that fight, but once he get that swim move, or if he hits you with a crossover, grab his ass. Grab him. And then just keep, don't do what the Bull did in Buffalo. Osiris Torrance held Micah Parsons and looked around the referee like, all right, we're good. Just play it off. It ain't hurting you. It's kind of the Legion of Boom thing. All right, Legion of Boom said, hey, dog, we going to be physical every single play. We're going to hold every single play. They're not going to call holding every play. They might pop you one time. But see, a holding in NFL on the DBs is it's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down. We will take 5 yards, automatic first down on a second down play over you popping us over the head or something. We'll take what we benefit from holding and being physical at the line of scrimmage, allowing our pass rush to get busy and your quarterback getting sacked or throwing interceptions over the 5-yard penalty. So teams are saying, yeah, 10 yards is tough, but they ain't called it in 9 games. I don't think there is a coincidence, because it's not like, hey, Micah got held like once or twice. Fam, Micah gets held probably once or twice per series. And I'm not trying to be, and I'm only talking about Micah. I'm not talking about just Micah, because that has to be the easiest call to make in the world. And I'm done off this. I'm done. I heard Jerry say this, Micah said this too. And if this is the case, if referees are saying this to Micah Parsons, this is wild to me. But apparently, Micah's been told, or Jerry believes, that referees are saying, well, if we don't think that player, whether it's you, Micah, or D-Law, whoever, has the chance to make a play, we're not calling holding, even if you're held. I hope that the referee didn't say that. We see there's a foul on the play. Let me see where the ball's at. He wouldn't have made that play. And keep this flag in my pocket. And let me tell you how contradictory that is. If I'm a quarterback, I drop back. I'm looking this way. I throw some 37-yard bomb to the left. 40 yards across the field. If my wide receiver runs a quick slant and gets held, that's a flag. That's why it's contradictory. Had nothing to do with the play. But you call the flag and it's an automatic first down. How many times have we seen that? Now it's, damn, he pulling the shit out of Micah. Quarterback's 3 yards away. We're good. What? And I know Jerry was like, well, you can't judge that off of Micah because Micah can close it. Excuse me. See, forget it being about Micah. A hold's a hold. You do not know what's going to happen if that player does not get held. What if the quarterback pump fakes? What if the running back has to cut back? So I'm really hoping that the referees did not say that to Micah or Jerry, because if that's the case, that's wrong, man. Like, somebody got to investigate the referees on that sense. Like, that needs to be changed. A holding's a holding. There is no, he's 3 yards away, he won't get there. That's crazy to me. Because if that's what's happening, I'm holding Micah Parsons. I'm holding Micah every play. Literally. I know we playing around, but literally holding Micah every play. Stop playing with me. I digress. 334, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Scott, man? Hope you had a good holiday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got I had two points in the possible, which you really touched on the mic one.
2 points in the possible.
Yeah, man, it's just a shame that Micah been held so much, and the last call was in October, man. That's kind of crazy, bro.
And bro, that's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Being the pass rusher that he is, man, come on, bro. And I heard him say, like, he could be the one that can flop and do all that kind of stuff. But man, me myself, if that flop gonna give up the intensity on the play,
great point. Because you know why? This is a great point. I'm glad he don't do it. Because guess what everybody would be doing? They would be crucifying him for doing it, just like we do CD Lamb. CD Lamb giving up on a play because he got a flag. Bro, fight through that. Anyway.
Yeah, man, you can only respect that, man. You know what I'm saying? The intensity, the key going, keep playing after the play, man. Keep going, bro. And you know what I'm saying? I hate that it's, that it gotta be in the rep team. But one play, bro, that is eating my soul, man, is why would Tony Pollard cut inside? Being the speed guy that he is, bro, I can always see him running to the pocket.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. And then on the inverse, I didn't get why Cooks didn't cut it inside. Like, I think if Cooks cuts it inside, we're not talking about the Tony play because he scores. If Tony keeps running to the pylon, we're not talking about the Lipke play because he scores. And just funny how one play can be cause a chain reaction.
That's the game, bro. We got that game.
It's not.
I'm
not going to call it the game. That's in the first. We had plenty of opportunities to win this game, but it's a defining moment in the game. But I'm not going to sit here and be one of those. That play cost the game. You had the whole 4 quarters to play, and you had the game won. You make a stop, the game's over.
I only say it because you know what I'm saying, the confidence level. You know what I'm saying that every time that we make the first. You know what I'm saying? We score on the first drive, man. That confidence is a huge booster for us. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that. I feel you, and that's the low hanging fruit way to think about it. But you went down, you got the lead, you just needed to stop. We don't got to complicate it any more than that. We don't got to go all the way back to a first quarter play. We can just quite literally say, even with all the mistakes in between the game, you went down there, got the lead, you get a stop, game's over. It's just that simple.
It's like that angle in basketball. You got an easy lay, but you step into the defense. What kind of shit is that? Like, come on, man. The speed you got. I mean, I know you based on the speed, but like, take it to the pylon. I just didn't get that play. All right, but it is what it is. But the second thing, bro, is am I the only one to feel like Hurst is the weakest link on the defense now, bro?
Nah, he ain't the weakest link, but he's not the curse he was. These linebackers are more of an issue.
Oh man, I just seen him on the field, bro. It's like he's stuck in the ground.
Yeah, he's definitely not what he was for sure. We've been talking about that for weeks.
Yeah. But that's all I had, man. Scott, thank you for taking my call, man. Cowboy Nation, what up?
No problem. Salute, bro. Jay said that's not edited. Yeah, man. If I was like a national platform, if I was like Pat McAfee, like the Cowboys, Pat McAfee, right, where I would do a whole entire show like this, just to send a message. Can they find Pat McAfee for something like that? The NFL weird, man. Like I don't know. I don't watch the shows religiously. I don't know what the word on these national platforms are with officiating. And I'm gonna remove my Cowboys from it, right? Like, this is across the league. This isn't just in Dallas, how bad it's been. But yeah, something need to be done. Yeah, brother. Hashtag we gotta overcome it. 100%. That'd be my backdrop. It's a perfect, like, if I was Micah, bro, I would change. This would be my profile picture. Until we get a holding call. If I would be, okay, you know what? Never mind. See, I'm thinking like content. This is content me thinking. You know, if I'm Micah's PR, though, I'd be petty. Bro, you know how petty I'd be? I'd have a countdown type of thing, you know, nice little mix of all the egregious holes that haven't been called. A little cool little edit, maybe a little countdown clock. Like, I'd be doing all that if I was like, his producer on his show type of situation. Should be petty. But Micah said, hey, look, I don't want to talk. I'm sorry. Whatever I did, refs, I apologize. And I feel him. I don't think they're watching this podcast, but somebody in their family might be like, hey, Uncle Hockley. Uncle Hock. They probably call Uncle Hock. Micah talking shit about you again, bro. Oh, yeah?
I ain't scared of you, mother.
Say less. Say less. For real, man. It's probably the family. These referees ain't watching this program. It's probably the family, though. You know, family be watching these players, bro, and they be like, oh, look what he said. Like, they be doing that, man. I know the players do too. Like, the players be on here, definitely up there. But the family definitely be like, let's get the super chats, man. Curse need to go. Curse will go. Lunar Love. He won't be here next year. We pretty much, once everybody started getting they extensions in the secondary and Curse got left out, that was it right there. The writing was on the wall. Dead giveaway.
Super chat.
Let's see here. All right, cool. Appreciate you. Got a couple of them. Joe Knows dropped 2 and said, we should rotate Dorrance and Sam. Play Micah at middle linebacker. Dro, I'm exhausted. I don't know what else to say, man. I will say this though. I'm glad they did do it a few times and he showed out at the position, you know. And I don't like to be petty like this, but I didn't like the way the other side of the table was coming at people that were saying, hey, Micah moonlighting at linebacker is not a bad idea. He's got good tape and we keep showing him, but y'all keep saying he's not good at it, which was I just didn't get it. So the part of me that really wants to be petty, I don't like to be too petty, but I kind of want to be like, told your ass, right? But yeah, Dro, Micah, if they use Micah like he was used in year 1, I think he'd be. I know he's defensive player favorite, but I think he'd be even crazier. This has never changed for me. I've always been, he's a linebacker dude that rushes on pass downs, and he can be the best literally at both. That's how I feel about the dude. But I'm just talking into the abyss at this point, apparently.
Super chat.
Shouts out to Still Them Boys. Drop 5 said Ryan Clark did a breakdown of Micah at middle linebacker on national television and showed how he played. Who would have thought? Not me. Who would have thought? Yeah, man. I will say this, man. I'm appreciative that as creators, our voices are clearly, in my opinion, reaching these people. And because of social media, the good and the bad, right? Because of social media, don't get it twisted. I love Ryan Clark. Bro, ain't no way. Ain't no way he would have thought about doing some damn breakdown of Michael Parsons at middle linebacker if we hadn't talked about it. Right? If it didn't get as loud as it got for Micah to then address it, he wouldn't have did that breakdown. It wouldn't even became a thought to him. And this is no disrespect to Ryan Clark because he's a film guy. But it got there because the community we just been talking about it for 2.5 years just about. So shouts out to y'all. No disrespect to them, but that's just the truth of the matter. They ain't give a damn about no Mike at linebacker. All year to talk about Micah rushing the passer. Run right at Micah. And the whole time we like, hey, go watch his rookie film. He really should be off the ball than rushing when it's time to throw the rock. Nobody wants to pay attention. Then Buffalo happens. And the noise gets loud. And it gets louder. Then Micah starts performing when he gets moonlighted back there against one of the best running teams in the world. And now it's, Mike at linebacker. Let me put this film on. Yeah, we not stupid, man. With all due damn disrespect. Hey, speaking of which, I know Jack probably going to be on later on Vach's show. We back live. Vacation over. Breaking down likely this Miami game for the first time with Vach. And possibly tomorrow we'll probably talk about the Lions in general. So make sure y'all come through. The big homie's back off the vacay. Y'all know how we do, man. If you are not a part of the community over there, you're missing out. So we're gonna have a good time. Even in losses, we still find a way to have a good time, put a smile on your face as best we can. But we're gonna break that down with Vach. Mo will be back on later. Tomorrow I've got. Do I got it? Bow. I got Pat Nosey Walker coming through to talk about what's happening down there at the Star. So we get him returning as well. So jam-packed week, short week, but a jam-packed one. And then Friday, likely Okoye if all goes well. We're going to, just like anything, we got a chance to play. We're going to monitor him we're going to monitor Okoye, make sure he's good to go, man. Send him your well wishes. With that said, man, please, on your way out, hit the like button. If you enjoyed the show, shouts out to B-Bird, just dropped 2. The schedule is mapped out, but not the dates. Yeah, the dates are not mapped out. I mean, but where you play is mapped out. It's pretty much a science. It only comes down to I think now 3 games, but before I think it was 2. Can't remember. But I don't playing back-to-back road games. Whatever. You're going to play back-to-back road games in the league. If you just give me one of them home games, put it this way, I don't give a damn if we play Buffalo and then Philly. I'm not scared to go to Philly. But you could have won in Miami. Back-to-back road games to me ain't a problem. I just think the schedule was ironic that it flipped. Philly gets all of the tough teams at home. We get them all on the road. It is what it is, man. With that said, man, I'm going to go ahead and press this button, get up out of here.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
And see y'all later today. You do not want to miss it, man. I don't know if he's going to give y'all the salt and pepper lounge this week. Don't know. Got to talk to Voch later. That's why you got to come through. But either way, we have a wonderful time over there. So come on through. And on your way out, hit that like button and share this with all your friends, families, and foes. Be out here. Love y'all. Peace.